Hello and welcome back to Life on the Wrist. Hope you all are doing well today. Today we are going to be looking at an extremely thin and extremely beautiful Bulova SVP1 manufactured in 1960. This is a very interesting piece that really showed, I think, what watch manufacturing was about during this era, and I think that really was about creating obviously performance-related watches that had a stylistic element to them that was attractive to people who were buying watches. I think the history of this watch is really interesting, and the history of the advertising with this watch is quite interesting. So we will get into this piece, its history, the movement, other information about this piece that I think is really relevant. It's a beautiful piece. I highly recommend you check out the article on our website because there is some additional information there about this piece. So I'd see that while you watch the video, so you can really see the advertisements, patents that are related to this watch, and those types of things. So without further ado, let's jump into this watch. Watch advertising is an incredibly powerful tool. It can entice watch enthusiasts, but can also deter them if done poorly. In today's watch world, one could criticize some brands for overthinking their marketing campaigns to the point where the dollar spent truly could be described as a waste. This Bulova, if I can get it to focus, I apologize. Give me 1 second here. Not a good start. There we go. Getting there, slowly but surely. There we go. This Bulova SVP is a good example of how a brand took a simple concept in describing why their watch was of the highest quality and focused watch buyers' attention. For those who don't know, Bulova is an American watch manufacturing company founded in 1875 by Joseph Bulova in New York City. They began their operations in New York's Maiden Lane, and in 1912 began manufacturing watches at their factory in Biel, Switzerland. A very big part of Bulova's history was their advertising. They began their advertising campaigns in the Saturday Evening Post in 1922, and even produced the first advertisement broadcast on radio in 1926. They produced many popular models throughout their history, including the Accutron and Computron. The Bulova SVP was another watch model that was a staple of Bulova's lineup. The SVP can sometimes be confused with the Surf King AW, as they look extremely similar in design. The Surf King AW, though, was released in 1961, and so this is a helpful sort of data point to that suggests that watches that resemble the Surf King that were manufactured prior to 1961 would be part of the SVP lineup. But of course, SVP is sort of a weird term to be heard. What does SVP actually mean? Based on the Bulova ads from the era, SVP was an acronym for style, value, and performance, all characteristics of what potential watch buyers would seek out in a watch. The SVP came in two versions, one with a black dial, which is known as the SVP2, and one with a white dial known as the SVP1, which is what you see in front of you today. This SVP1 was manufactured in 1960 based on the case back, where you can see MO that's inscribed on the case back, indicating the year of production. Bulova used a series of two letters to indicate when their watches were manufactured. The watch has a stainless steel case that uses a waterproof design. It's incredibly thin, as you can see from the profile of this watch, which makes it feel like you aren't even wearing something on the wrist. The watch has a stainless steel case, and if you look on the case back, you'll see another inscription at the top here that has the patent number 2871654. This patent refers to a waterproof case design that was done by Emile Fachon, who was working at Bulova at the time. The patent was filed in April 1954 and published in February 1959, just 1 year after, 1 year before this watch was, this specific watch was manufactured. There is a patent on the Life on the Wrist article, an image of the patent, so I encourage you to check out the article on lifeonthewrist.com. Not only did this watch focus on being waterproof, it also was anti-magnetic, which you'll see on this side of the watch. You'll see another inscription that describes it as, you'll see it down on this corner here that says anti-magnetic. Clearly, Bulova was attempting to create an incredibly robust watch to withstand whatever came at it. The watch does so show signs of light polishing, but maintains an overall sharp appearance and attractive look. As you can see, the watch has these long, sharp, straight lugs. The crystal of the watch does have a little small crack at 5 o'clock, but it's pretty unnoticeable. The watch features a white dial that's aged to an incredible cream tone over time, and it also has applied hour markers, which you can see in a really attractive font, sword hands, and a subsidiary seconds at 6 o'clock. The watch runs on the caliber 11 AF movement. This is a manual wind caliber that was produced by Bulova from 1959 to 1967. The watch is 11.5 lines and has a 45-hour power reserve. An additional factor that made this watch incredibly waterproof was how a watchmaker accessed the movement. Instead of having sort of the traditional case back that would be removed so that the watchmaker could then get at the movement, the watchmakers instead needed to push the crystal in and then remove the watch movement through the front of the case. On the wrist, and I really should have described that the case diameter of this watch, because I think that's an important factor to consider. The SVP1 in steel has a 32 millimeter case. If you look at it on the wrist, as I mentioned, it's extremely thin, and as you saw from the profile, it's extremely thin, but wears really nicely. And to be honest, if you wear this watch, it's almost as if it doesn't, sometimes you feel as if you aren't even wearing a watch with it on the wrist because of how thin and light this specific piece is. Looking at the specifications of this watch, one can truly see why this watch was described as being a performance piece. Based on advertisements, it appears that the watch was selling for about $25 US, which in 2014 is about $260 US. Now, take a moment, compare what one gets for $260 today. This Bulova would definitely be considered value, which is the V in the SVP name. It's actually pretty incredible to think that this watch is the same price as some Seikos as well as Timexes, and I think each to their own, but the amount of incredible watchmaking you're getting in this compared to maybe some other models for a similar price point is pretty stark. The last piece of the SVP name is style, and style is really personal, but the incredibly thin case, clean dial, and beautiful hour markers that you find on this watch makes this watch accessible, and it can definitely find a place in just about anyone's style lineup. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this Bulova SVP1. As mentioned, sort of in the outro of that, of going over this piece, style, value, and performance are really incredible ways of describing this specific piece, and I think it was a very easy way of advertising something that had a lot of technical prowess when it comes to the patent for this specific case. The the robustness for this case and how incredibly it would perform with those elements, along with the idea that this is if you want to put it in today's term, a $260 watch, which is really mind-blowing when you think about what you were getting, you know, for that price in 1960. And then obviously an extremely stylistic piece, being so thin, wearing it so easily on the wrist. It's incredible to think that this watch, and no wonder it did so well. So a very, very cool piece. As I mentioned throughout the video, on lifewiththerist.com we have an article in the editorial section of our website. I encourage you to take a look at that so you can see, one, the patent that was filed for this specific case, as well as the advertisements related to this watch. They are quite interesting to see and sort of grounds this piece in a nice little bit of history. So be sure to head over to lifewiththerist.com and check out the editorial section of our website. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this piece. Question for the day is, would you wear a 32mm piece that is so thin? It's 32 millimeters, but and sometimes that can be an unattractive size for some people, but I'd love to hear if you would wear this specific piece given its size and performance. If you are new to Life on the Wrist, be sure to subscribe to the channel and share this video with a friend who might be interested in watches. And if you wouldn't mind liking this video, it really does help me out. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time.